The Podsters, episode 21.
Woo-hoo! Episode 21. We're legal to drink now.
And vote.
Woohoo!
We are adults.
Yes.
Stirring shit up.
Stirring shit up. Evoking conversation. Provoking thought.
So, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody, or those of you who actually celebrate it. But what is Cinco de Mayo, really? I mean, it's so kind of corny if you think about it, because when Cinco de Mayo comes around, people are like, oh, let's go drink some beer and eat nachos, drink tequila, and eat Mexican food till we throw up, kind of thing. Well, I don't know, that might be a bit extreme, or it may happen, but either way, I mean, there's no significance really why people celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
So, what is Cinco de Mayo?
Well, Cinco de Mayo, everybody thinks that Cinco de Mayo is when Mexico celebrates their independence from France.
Well, from Spain, you mean?
Oh, from Spain. I'm sorry. From Spain.
That's in September.
Yes.
And we're in May now.
So the actual thing that happened, and by the way, I have to say this. Mexico doesn't even celebrate anything on Cinco de Mayo. It's not a national holiday for them or anything like that.
No, the only place in Mexico that celebrates Cinco de Mayo is a little town known as Puebla. So, why? What's going on? Enlighten me.
Okay, so this is what happened. During the Civil War, in what was that, like 18... I can't remember.
You mean the U.S. Civil War?
Yeah, the U.S.
North against South?
Civil War in 1862.
Uh-huh.
France was hurting for money because the Civil War was hurting the economy.
Yeah, because the North managed somehow to cut off the southern states from doing business with other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Or Europe, we should say.
Yeah. So, in order to get some kind of compensation, they were determined to go down to Mexico, which they did, to collect like taxes or whatnot, or debt. And they somehow got sidetracked and decided, hey, since we're already down here, let's go ahead and side with the South in America, or the U.S. Let's side with the U.S. South to beat the North. That way we can continue to trade.
Oh, that makes sense, because the Confederate States back then, they had all the tobacco and cotton.
Cotton was very valuable.
Yep, all the good stuff.
Gold, probably. I'm not too sure about the gold and silver stuff, but the main commodity probably was tobacco and cotton.
Yeah. So you're saying that the French sided with the Confederation to try and defeat the northern states.
Right. And so what happened was the Mexican people, I'm not sure if it was like an organized Mexican army. It was the Mexican army that went to Puebla. And they defeated France.
Oh, wow.
They somehow like ambushed them and overtook them, and actually prevented France from siding with the Confederacy.
And thus actually probably helping the North to win the war in the long run.
Right. So Mexico actually had a part in
the U.S. Civil War. Right. And this little army, the little Mexican army, actually defeated Napoleon III.
Yes.
The worst of the Napoleons.
Exactly. And so, I mean, technically, if you're going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, celebrate it for the sheer fact that Mexico helped defeat
the Confederacy.
and win the Civil War. How about that?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. So they started celebrating this like right after the Civil War, or what?
No, it wasn't really celebrated right after the Civil War. I would say actually Cinco de Mayo was recognized by Mexican American activists back in the 60s.
Oh, so in the 1960s?
Yeah, so in the 1960s, people like Cesar Chavez and forgive me for not knowing who everybody else is out there.
Well, I think because the Mexican American history is not really mentioned. So basically, the activists of the 60s.
Yeah, the Mexican American activists of the 60s. The main one is Cesar Chavez. I'm sure there's many more out there, but they used they used that incident when the Mexicans overtook Puebla.
What? So they basically started
They're
using
celebrating using that day as, the underdogs overtook the fierce army and power that it was. Cool.
So then people started celebrating it in the 60s.
Yeah, then people were celebrating it as a celebration of empowerment, pretty much. But back in 1989, an ad campaign came out on Cinco de Mayo, nonetheless, for imported beers such as Modelo and Corona. Hence, the whole commercialization of Cinco de Mayo.
Oh,
That's
wow. So
the Cinco de Mayo that we know Cinco de Mayo is today.
So basically, because actually, to point out a sad fact, that is that France for a while actually governed Mexico. So basically, there was a battle that helped the North win over the South in the U.S. Civil War.
Right.
On May 5th, where the Mexican army defeated the French. Mm-hmm. And the only people that probably did any sort of celebration back in the day would have been the villagers
in the town of Puebla.
Yeah, cool. And then fast forward almost 100 years, and American, Hispanic, like Mexican American activists used the day as a sort of day of empowerment.
Right.
And then it wasn't until almost 20 years after that somebody who imported Mexican beer decided to let's commercialize this and run ad campaigns, and people became aware. And hence all the restaurants started their whole, free margaritas and buy a taco, get the second one free kind of stuff.
Yeah, get some chips and salsa and whatnot.
Wow. I really think this day should be more than just commercialized. That kind of stinks, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, technically it could be considered a national holiday.
Yeah, I think it should.
We should start
unless you're white. Yeah, we should. Unless you're white trash, of course, running around rooting still for the Confederacy.
Right.
But no, it totally should be for anybody who wants a free, democratic United States of America. It should really be a day to celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate the Mexicans that defeated France.
Yeah, for sure.
That's very interesting because it's you just take the day for granted. You just assume you growing up, you just assume that that's, what Cinco de Mayo is, maybe some, celebrations with piñatas and what is it? Cascarones.
Well, now we actually have a real explanation for the day.
Exactly. And that is the bullshit of the day, is actually commercialization of Cinco de Mayo.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
I fully agree. I think it sucks that it's a day that sort of has been demoted into no one really knowing what it's about. But it's all about beer, tequila, and Mexican food.
Right.
That's complete bullshit.
Yeah, and I just wanted to provoke some kind of thought and possibly action. Now that we think about it, we could possibly get Cinco de Mayo as a national holiday.
Yeah, come on, guys. Write your local congressman.
Right.
It really should be celebrated. If you really stand for freedom and democracy, that should really be a national holiday.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what people really want. And I don't see that happening. I don't see people really advocating for Mexican pride per se.
But to me, it's more than just Mexican pride. It's a matter of fact that Mexico helped defeated the French.
Right.
Who were going to side with the Confederacy.
Right.
The Mexicans defeated the French, who therefore didn't side with the Confederacy, and the North won. That's a victorious battle for freedom and democracy.
Right.
So I don't think it's so much Mexican pride, but I don't know. To me, cultural heritage in the United States is really strange.
What did you call it the other day? You said it's kind of schizophrenic.
Yeah, to me it's really, really schizophrenic that on one hand you have people from all countries and all walks of life. They come here, they live here, and for generations, right?
Right.
So we're a lot of times when people bring it up,
immigrated to the U.S.
Yeah, but the people who immigrated, they're like the great grandparents of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's schizophrenic to me because on one hand, the second you say something negative about the U.S., like maybe it's time you drop your miles and standard system for measurement, people get all riled up. This is America and we're great. America, the United States. Yeehaw!
Make America great again.
Yeah, make America great again. Just to the day after, regress into being Mexican, German, Irish, Swedish. And it's so weird to me because I think that instead of being obsessed with cultural heritage, we should all try to be good Americans, good citizens of the United States of America. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't think that I don't think you should know about your ancestry and know traditions and stuff, but it really throws me off when being half Swedish, half Austrian, and having spent a lot of time in Germany, you have people either with a Scandinavian last name coming up to you and be like, yeah, oh, you're Swedish? I'm Swedish too. And to me, that it's like, okay, so let's talk about food and the culture in Sweden. And it's like, no. I don't know a word of Swedish, but my great grandfather, I think he came from Sweden or maybe Norway, came to the U.S.
Yeah.
Or the town we live in, which is like a German town, quote unquote. And people, yeah, I'm German. I'm German. And I, having been in Germany and speaking fluent German, go, oh wow, so where in Germany are you from? Well, I'm not German. My great grandparents came from Germany. And it's like, okay, got it. So where in Germany did they come from? Because it's a huge difference between Northern Germany, Southern Germany, Eastern Germany, Western Germany. And people just go like, I don't know, but like they're German.
That too. And then, I mean, I don't know if it's just plain out stereotyping by people, but as soon as they see the color of my skin, because I'm brown, I automatically know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah, that's another bullshit.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. are you assuming that I speak Spanish?
Based on the color of your skin? That's messed up.
No, not even that. Based on my, maiden name, which is a Hispanic surname.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. But at the same time, it's messed up to me when you, and especially your family, that has been in this particular area forever.
For like 5 generations
start
at
being
least.
I'm Mexican. I'm like, are you really Mexican? Like, first off, which city in Mexico did you come from?
Right, and they can't give you an answer to that.
Do you speak Spanish? No, God damn it, I'm an American. No. 2 seconds ago you said you were Mexican, so speak Spanish. Well, I can't speak Spanish. Well, then you're not Mexican. You have Mexican heritage, and people, it's great. You have Irish heritage, German heritage, whatever. Learn a bit about the real culture.
Right. And that's what I feel like I've been doing lately as far as learning more of the culture of my ancestors and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great.
I think everybody should.
Because we do have a tendency of losing
definitely
tradition,
but I mean, if we had kids and they had kids, and then our grandkids that would never have been to Sweden would start calling themselves Swedish, I'd beat the heck out of them. Focus on being a good American first, and then we can talk traditions. But you're not Swedish unless you've actually, you weren't born and raised there.
Right.
You haven't even tasted real Swedish food because you can't when you're not there. I mean, food tastes different.
And it's just like with me. I mean, I may have my skin color is brown, and I have never really been to Mexico. I've been to like the border towns, but that's not really Mexico.
Yeah, but
that's
I don't think people outside Texas don't even realize like how much, if you want to just quote Hispanic heritage, not necessarily even Mexican, but just Hispanic heritage there is.
Right.
It's not a random person with darker skin. It's a good portion of the population.
Right.
So to assume that portion of the population would have relocated from South America or Mexico, or that everybody speaks Spanish and know the culture, to me that's bullshit. It really is. It's another bullshit of the week, I guess.
It's a double bullshit?
Yeah, it's a double whammy today, guys.
It's number 21.
Yeah, we can do what we want. And
stirring some shit up.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Like I said, we live in a German town, and of course they have a quote-unquote German fest here in the fall.
Celebrate the sausage.
Yeah, but what's funny with that, too, is that they don't even do that, right? They think that because you put on some lederhosen and play some Oompa Boompa music, and you serve beer and sausage, that makes it German. And it's funny because one of our neighbors have spent, I think, 10 or 15 years living in Germany. And he went last year to this event. And he's like, that was the worst shit ever. They served not German beer, but like Bud Light and, all the light Miller Lights. And they made all these like weird sausages with cheese in them, like cheddar cheese and jalapenos and stuff.
In defense of the little celebration, because I've been there and it's not a little celebration, but they do have all kinds of beer. They sell the light beers and crap because that's what people drink. But they do sell that thick German beer. Oh yeah, they did.
But that was like it was an insane amount of money per pitcher and stuff.
Yeah, it's like $40 a pitcher or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, then you're not really holding a true German festival, so you're not true to your heritage. And let's get that straight too.
But it just
all Germans don't wear lederhosen. That's actually an Alp thing, which would be a small portion of southern Germany. So to stereotype things like that, and then sort of be all thinking that you know your heritage. No, do what Michelle just said. Like, really read up on it. Try to do some real research.
Figure out why we do what we do instead of just being ignorant about it.
Yeah, and then like I said too, please, everybody. That's great. Do research of your ancestry. If you have the money and time, go spend some time in, the country where your ancestors came from. But first and foremost, be good. patriotic, freedom-loving United States citizens.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, I have to say that I'm really, really, like, besides myself about this situation. And that would be that President Donald Trump was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And
yeah.
I was like, wait, what? I mean, I heard it on the news and I was like, and, you know, of course they go to commercial and stuff. And I'm just like, what the fuck just happened?
Well,
Why? And then they say, you know, it's because he has ended the war between North and South Korea.
Well, I think they've jumped the gun there first of all.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had the meetings yet. We don't know what the outcome is. So I think that was a bit speedy to put out that nomination. He hasn't ended anything yet.
It was a bit premature.
But I do gotta give the man a little bit of credit, even though I've even called him a cunt on this show. Because I think that a lot of things he does are stupid.
Right. His actions are a bit off.
But I do think some of the things he has accomplished by simply not being a politician and having stuck to his guns as a businessman. And I do gotta give him some props for that.
Right. And that's what makes me so besides myself, is because he's actually done some pretty good shit for the country.
Yeah.
And he's actually
for
accomplished
the world, actually.
some... Yeah, and for the world, right. And he's accomplished these things. And I still dislike the man for the type of person that he is.
Oh, I agree with that.
And
I think he should definitely stop his social media rants and stuff.
Yeah, he shouldn't be allowed on Twitter.
But I do gotta give him credit for, because we've seen this before, where people claim to go into Washington to change things and stir them up. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, they came to Washington and they became just another politician.
Right.
For Trump's defense or whatever, I have to give him props
He's
for
running
having
it like a business.
Yes, and he's doing...
And he's cleaning house at that.
Yeah, but maybe that house cleaning was necessary. It's just that everybody else has gone there and turned politician too, with the whole, if I shake this hand, that hand won't bite. Trump goes in and says, no, you suck, get out.
Right.
It's not really... presidential, maybe, or even
no,
like...
because it seems like he's doing it for his own interest.
And I'm sure part of it is his own interest, but you gotta put it like this.
And it doesn't really seem like it's of the interest of the country, you know, of best interest of the country.
But then again, we actually do not know the background stories as to what, because if you look at it, sometimes to me the world is a sandbox.
Right.
Putin... No matter how bad we hate Russia and don't like Putin for all he's done, he did win the Russian election. That was a democratic election. A bunch of politicians in the world banded together and decided that, you know, to kind of bully him, they wouldn't congratulate him.
They were going to ice him.
Yeah. And Trump, in that sense, went at it not as a politician, but as a man that said, you know, he did win. Well, you congratulate a winner. And he said, congratulations, Mr. Putin. I think that
made relations so un-American.
Yeah, but that made relations between the U.S. and Russia probably good or better.
Yeah.
And what's the harm in that? Right. He actually dealt with it as a man. And same thing with, well, we still have to wait and see the outcome of North and South Korea. But he, so far at least, has at least been able to get them to agree to a meeting, which is more than any other politician has been able to do for how many years? And regardless of if they're United States presidents or anywhere else in the world, everybody is afraid of North Korea. Mm-hmm. But nobody's ever really attempted to do what Trump did, and Trump somehow picked up the phone and said, douchebags, you're going to have a meeting. We're going to figure this out. Gotta give him props for that. I don't know if it's Nobel Prize worthy, but gotta give credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
It hurts me to do it. But I mean, seriously, I can't be another hypocrite that says that Trump sucks, and when he actually goes to do good, say that, yeah, but he still sucks. I don't like his actions. I don't like him as a person. We probably wouldn't get along in a room for very long. But the few things he's done good, kudos.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how I feel. But I don't like his actions when he's, I guess, speaking in public and stuff.
No, he definitely could have taken some cues from someone. He needs to tone
that down and just be a little bit more diplomatic about how he speaks, I think.
For sure. And I do think that the nomination is still a little bit early because, like I said, we still haven't seen the outcome of these meetings.
Uh-huh.
But he did manage what no one else has managed, which is to get them to a table.
Right.
And talk things over. So congrats, Trump.
Yeah. Something like that.
It hurts me to say it. But I think that's how it is. Bad people aren't all bad and good people aren't all good. So he just showed that even a douchebag like him have some sort of good sides once in a blue moon.
Are you Trump 2020?
No. I think he should have stayed in New York and done his business thing. But
I love your New York accent. That's good.
Right?
You want to give me a call and we'll go get a dog and drink some coffee?
Yeah, let's have some coffee and a dog.
That's my New Yorker accent.
Yeah. We're making stereotypes here, guys.
Yeah. Although I've never really spent very much time in New York. I have been there.
New York.
Oh, look at Penny.
Yeah, Penny's hanging out, podcasting with us.
She's just chilling with us. You know, it's so funny because we're so silly. I'm pretty sure people think we're crazy around here because
I think they think
we talk to our dogs, but we talk.
Well, we don't only talk to our dogs; we talk like our dogs.
Yeah,
we've given them voices.
We give them conversations,
and then we hold conversations in the dog voices. I'm sure, aren't they called furries or furbies? Whatever.
Furries.
Yeah, some people probably think we're furries when they hear our conversations. And no,
because the other morning I was. What were we talking about that I can't even remember at this point? But
because we had gotten our grocery store were out of the big bags of dog food that we normally get, so we had to get a little bag of dog food.
Yeah, and he's a bit confused by that. And the day before, I did not go to work because I wasn't feeling well, and all we did was me, Penny, and Kingsley. We just crashed on the couch all day long. So they seemed pretty content and they were happy that, that I was home. And I was asking Kingsley, him if he wanted me to stay home or if he wanted Daddy to stay home.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how Kingsley sounds.
Yeah, well, that's Kingsley.
And how does Penny sound?
I can't talk white like Penny right now. My nose is itchy and stuffy. My eyes hurt too.
Yeah.
Yeah?
But Kingsley was like, no, I want you to stay home. I want you to stay home, Mommy. But then he was like, no, you gotta go to work today because we need bigger bags of kibble.
We don't like the modest bags of kibble. We're poor now.
Those are modest bags. We need the big bags of kibble.
Yeah, if you go to work, maybe we can be rich again. You
gotta go to work so we can get bigger bags of kibble.
The real bags. Yeah, we can't so much eat the modest bags of kibble. And that's how our conversation went back and forth.
Yes. I mean,
and we have these on a daily basis.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure neighbors have heard us speak that way. And they're probably like, do they have children? Or do they have like a mental child or some sort of thing going on where they only let him out like once a day and then chain him to a wall? Next thing you know, we have CPS knocking on our door.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. No, we don't have any children.
No, we're not furries.
We're not furries. We're not crazy per se.
A little bit, but
We're a little bit unusual.
we're just being ourselves and not giving
Yeah.
a shit what the rest of the
And
world
we have
thinks.
2 dogs that we really love. I mean, they're our family.
For sure.
Yeah, and we're not one. I wouldn't say that we treat our dogs like kids or whatever, but
No, and we don't dress them up
no.
and do stuff like
I mean,
that.
there's they're still dogs, but they're family.
And should be treated as such.
Yeah, all animals should be treated with kindness.
Yes, and if you don't have the time, energy to take care of your animals, don't get them. Just because
Yeah,
the American dream contains a
please.
white picket fence and a dog, don't do it.
Please do research on how to care for a pet, whatever it is that you get as a pet. Because
Dogs should not be left unattended outside in your backyard all day, nor should they be locked in a garage that
or
turns to
chained
be
to a tree.
110 or
Be
chained to a tree.
responsible. It's a living being.
And also, if you live in a neighborhood, realize that your dog eats up front and it shits out back. So be courteous to your neighbors and pick up after yourself.
Right? Be a responsible pet owner. That's all I have to say. It just breaks my heart when people are so inconsiderate or just
And please,
neglectful when it comes to dogs. And
please spay and neuter. We
Yeah.
don't need more dogs going to the shelters.
yeah, it's really sad to see those dogs at the shelters.
Yep.
I just
and
want
it's-
to take them all home.
It's thanks to you backyard breeders and people who leave your dogs unattended, unspayed, and unneutered, and they run off and meet their friends. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You're not doing anybody any favors. Love your animals.
And love your neighbors too.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
So, in musical world,
Oh yeah, what's going on there?
well, what we thought happened. Gibson filed for bankruptcy.
Wait, what?
Yep, Gibson filed for bankruptcy, and it's kind of more of an interesting subject because here in the United States, other countries don't have it like this. There's different kinds of bankruptcies you can file for, and Gibson filed for what's called a Chapter 11.
And what's that?
That means that they basically can cut losses and assets and work with creditors. And it doesn't mean that they're just closing their doors. And that is actually very interesting. Because that means that they are going to restructure somehow. We know, for instance, that they became more than just a guitar manufacturer. They tried to turn into this whole lifestyle company.
They tried to be more than one entity.
Yeah. So chances are that all their home electronic stuff that totally bummed and failed, they probably can just ditch that somehow, get rid of it from Gibson. In the long run, it means that the leadership that has mismanaged Gibson for the past 20 years will be gone. So we're going to see new people in CEO positions and stuff like that. And that actually makes everything more interesting than if they would just close their doors. And it's a good thing too, because we've ragged about their quality, we've ragged about the leadership, but it's a good thing for the guys in the factory. Luthier, even though Gibson guitar sells for a lot of money, they don't make a lot of money. So with a Chapter 11, it means that their doors will actually still be open. So the guys that work real hard making these instruments can still pay their houses and feed their families.
Oh, that's good.
That's really good. And then, of course, like I said, it's going to be interesting. And you guys, if we have any guitar players out there or music music lovers in general, let us know your thoughts on what's going to happen. Nothing is set in stone yet more than that, yeah, Gibson as we know it today filed for bankruptcy. Chapter 11. So the company will survive in some shape, form, and way. So that begs a very interesting question, for instance, for Epiphone. Epiphone used to be its own guitar manufacturer, and they did a lot of like the semi-acoustic, semi-hollow guitars.
Yeah.
And then Gibson purchased Epiphone. And they kind of turned Epiphone into their quote-unquote lower grade. Even though the quality of the instrument is equally, if you ask me, pretty much equally as good to the really expensive Gibsons. The higher-priced Epiphones in the $700 range, at least, are as good as the $2,500, $3,000 Gibsons. But Gibson did buy them. They turned them into this sort of lower budget brand. And one of the
because I always thought that Epiphone was more of like a starter brand or whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of people think
store.
That thanks to Gibson. But before Gibson bought them, like all the Epiphones you see the Beatles play, they are actually Epiphone inventions and Epiphone manufactured in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah. But then Gibson came in and kind of turned them into a lower costs, like you said, budget alternative to Gibson. But what's interesting with if they sell Epiphone off, what'll happen with all these cheaper Les Pauls that they put out? The model that everybody sort of associates with rock and roll.
Right.
Because as of right now, Gibson owns Epiphone, and they make Epiphone make these for, well, with a little bit lesser material, a little bit less labor. They're manufactured overseas in Asia. If they break, will Epiphone still be able to make Gibson-styled guitars?
That's a
or
good
would
question.
They have to like go back to doing semi-hollows and quote-unquote invent new styles?
They might do that.
Or will they kind of pay out a licensing deal to where Epiphone has to pay Gibson millions of dollars every year to still be able to put the Les Paul logo on the Epiphone Les Pauls? Who knows? And also with Gibson themselves, will they start doing things overseas?
Yeah.
To cut costs.
That's interesting to find out what they decide to do.
Yeah, and I really want to hear from you guys what you think, because like I said, it's not like they're going to close shop all in all. My personal hope is that they stop all these crazy new models and stuff. They were great at doing a few select models and styles like the Gibson Les Paul, the SG, the Melody Maker. And that they go back to doing those and bring quality control back. Lower their prices a little bit, because the amount of money that they want for their catalog models right now, this year, is insane. And nothing in the world can justify how they were thinking there, even if they
were
had
trying to make it up by jacking up the prices.
Yeah, I mean, it just...
But that's just a big deterrent, if anything. I mean...
Yeah, and especially when you know that their quality hasn't been all that great in the past couple of years and stuff. So hopefully they step up on... Lower the cost or for consumer a little bit. Up the quality, and instead of trying to do all these crazy inventions and stuff... Stick to the models you've been doing for over 50 years and done great. That would be really cool. That's my hope. Because I saw today that a couple of years ago you could buy the Gibson, like the cheap Gibsons. The studios. They were between $900 and $1,100. Today an ad popped up on YouTube where this year's studio is over $1,600.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, some of the real Les Paul, whatever they call them, customs and standards, they're up close to $4,000. And that happened literally overnight. They jacked their prices up with over $1,000 an instrument.
That's insane.
So I hope new leadership doesn't try to be like, well, we did up the quality, but we're going to keep these prices. If they lower them a bit, up the quality, and get some good players back.
And
They've lost
I
all their
don't really
endorsers.
see the demand in guitars these days.
No, I don't either. I think you have to realize that what's really crazy is that there's more brands or manufacturers of guitars today than there ever was. Mm-hmm. Yet sales of guitars in general has dropped 30%. So there's really no demand on that kind of price range at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us know what you guys think. We're going to round off and go back to celebrate the last hours of Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Now knowing what it actually means and represents.
That's funny. That's funny that you say that, though, because I know a coworker at another remote location asked me if our team was going to celebrate or do any kind of like potluck for Cinco de Mayo. And I was kind of like, well, no, we're always kind of busy. We don't really do much of celebrating or whatnot. I go, plus, we live in a German town, a German settled town, so there's not much to celebrate here on Cinco de Mayo.
And boy, were we wrong.
Right. And so, but the funny thing is I forgot to tell him too. I was like, hey, I forgot we are celebrating something for Cinco de Mayo. On Monday, we're coming in with the menudo. We're having a menudo and big red barbacoa potluck to cure the hangover from the weekend.
Nice.
And he was like, well, God, nobody drinks like that on my team. And I was like, we self-medicate.
Right? Self-medication and Menudo Monday. And next year, guys, we'll all celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Because now we know that
people are going to be pissed. Everybody's going to be like, it stinks over here. That's so funny. Anyhow, you guys have a good time celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Maybe whatever you celebrate Cinco de Mayo for, but now you know the truth.
You know the meaning behind it.
You have been lied to all your life, and now you know.
Get out there, celebrate, but please don't drive if you drink.
Yeah,
take an Uber.
Be responsible.
We love you guys.
Peace
out. Bye.
Vaya con Dios.